Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. Today we're going to take a look at some finished end cap pieces, including the waterfall, which I showed as a work in progress. And for those of you who are maybe new to this series of projects, there are several videos on them. And I'll post a once I take photos of these, I'll post these photos, the links to them off to the TerranScapes custom gallery, and that will show all of the phases that have been completed to date. I'm having trouble talking, and those phases each have links to the other videos, so that might be another way to search and see some of the previous videos on this work as well as the photos of them. So there are some pieces that I won't be showing today, try to keep this short, that are more of, just add-ons that have been very similarly done before. But what we have today that's new is the waterfall, as I mentioned, as well as two new entrances into the end caps that the customer requested to be used in conjunction with Dwarven Forge pieces. The Dwarven Forge caverns, their new Catacomb line, which just came out. If you haven't seen those, it's kind of interesting to take a look at. They've really expanded the range with some LEDs and whatnot. In any case, it's not about Dwarven Forge today. It's about the end caps, so let's take a closer look at them. So for the this entrance is designed to be used with the Catacomb set. And so the customer requested that I develop some kind of a crypt-like entrance based somewhat on the motif that I'd done with the mausoleum recently. So what I did is, this is on a 10-inch section, all right, and of course all of the end caps are 6 inches high. And what I did is built the front out of Hearst Arts, so I'll have to pay a little royalty on that, but they're nice pieces, and they, I think will work well with the Catacomb. And then that is carved all the way through to include, and then I put in some field stone in the back here so that the customer can butt the Catacomb piece directly up against this and have a relatively uniform transition. The Dwarven Forge Catacomb, and this is not the Catacomb, I'm sorry, those are just coming out. But anyway, they're designed, the Catacomb pieces are designed to match their existing dungeon pieces. And the customer sent me a sample dungeon piece to use for both for color matching and dimension matching. So this would sit, flush right up against there. And I think I've gotten a pretty good match on the paint. I've matched these paints before, but I couldn't remember exactly how I did it, and it varies slightly depending on the quality of light showing. But one of the things I noticed is that these pieces have a couple that are picked out. This is actually a relatively simple paint scheme. They basically dry brushed it with a sort of grayish green, and then they go back over that and pick out some of these. So I've done pretty much the same kind of color. This might get a little washed out in this lighting. We'll see how that looks final edition there. But anyway, it's a pretty nice match, and the half-inch thickness of the bottom of this matches the half-inch thickness of the bottom of these pieces, so it should sit really nice and pretty flush against that on the tabletop. The front, the customer requested that the door be removable, and that posed kind of a challenge. So what I decided to do is just fit it kind of snugly in there. So the door, and it does take let's see here, it takes, there we go. It takes a second to just kind of press it out, but I painted it on both sides. On one side I had a little bit more weathering because you really wouldn't see the back through this very easily. But it allows you to sort of look into the entrance and get a sense, right, that there's looming darkness within. And then to reinsert the door, it just comes in from the back. Squeeze it right in there, put it right at the base of the stone, and then it just press fits in place like that. Now, of course, the top of the door may receive chips, over time doing this, but, basically you're not going to see that when it's in place, and when you go to remove it, you can just pull it out and off it goes. For the second entrance end cap, the customer provided me to integrate into this. This is a out of production piece from Dwarven Forge. It's the Realm of the Ancients entrance, I believe. And this piece I did not want to fix permanently into place, as it is, out of production. It could be a rare collector's item. So what I did and you can kind of see it up close here a little bit. So it's got some of the same kind of green dry brushed stonework on the interior, and some stuff along the sides that I really wasn't sure how to integrate it. So what I did is I basically just created an open platform with an exposed back, and then vegetated around that to sort of hide the join when it's inserted. And the nice thing about the vegetation is it sticks out just a little bit, and it's nice and soft, and so it's not going to, you know, abrade this when you put it in. And then you can just slip it right in there and push it up snug. And I think that gives a pretty nice appearance for that. What I did then, because this has sort of a heavy front here that sticks out, is I just kicked out the front of this a little bit and left it kind of sloped, so that miniatures could, you know, in theory, access this. The back is done pretty much the same as the other entrance, except what I did here is I left the sides more like stonework, you know, like in a cave. And I did this with some sculpt mold and painted that up to match, but otherwise matched the fieldstone to, you know, to the exact same paint scheme that I had done the other set. This is a little bit rough on the finish here, but you won't see that when this piece gets inserted up against it. If the customer wants that cleaned up a little bit, it's actually before I ship this, I'm going to clean this up just a little bit more. I realize now, looking at it, that I haven't finished touching up the paint on this. I did a quick coat and it's not enough, so that will get a little bit more cleaned up before it goes out. But in any case, one of the things that I noticed with the Catacomb pieces is that they have a field stone kind of flooring to it, but that the stones are chipped and broken in the Catacomb pieces. So, you know, perhaps I did not want to try to dig into this plaster and chip out individual stones to try to match that feel, as that would add quite a bit of time and difficulty, and getting clean lines between these and everything is very, very difficult. So I left it as it is, and, you know, it gets eroded as it goes into the interior, something like that. So that is the realm of the Ancients entrance here. And the last piece to look at for today's video is the waterfall. And the waterfall, as you saw before, was you know, sort of a 3-tier, sort of a we'll call it a 2.5 tier, right? Because I wanted this to just be rapids at the bottom, and these to be a double cascading falls. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was, and if you look at the, if you look back one video, you'll show the, you know, the example picture that I was using as inspiration, but was to have it sort of sheeting off the top, with more of a rounded edge, a little cleaner up here because the water's a little turbulent on the second tier, and then break into individual falls that are, you know, at angles and cascading, and, you know, coming off of this piece here and a small bump over here. Let's see if I can give you a little close-up of that. It's a little tight in here with all the no, wait a minute. Let's go freehand on this. So that gives you a little sense of how the water is cascading down over some of those spots. And one of the things that I've done in the past, which I almost omitted, was the sort of cotton fibers for the mist and whatnot at the bottom of the falls. And I think in the past I've done maybe a little bit heavier of that to hide actually some of the joins in the back, as I felt like the texture didn't look quite right. And so for these waterfalls, what I really tried to do is let the gel age a bit and then stipple it and texture it much more heavily to give it a bit more of a frothing look. And that actually, I think, has come out as a significant improvement over the previous waterfalls. So that meant I didn't actually need to hide some of these bottom areas as aggressively as I did in the past, but I really did feel like it needed just a little bit of mist at the bottom. So what I did is just put in a few bits here and there, just to give it the illusion that there's a slightly, you know, more ephemeral transition at the very bottom. And I think that actually worked out really, really well. I feel like it's a much more appropriate amount now, and it doesn't detract from it. And I have enough texture on the waterfalls themselves that I feel like they seem a little bit more appropriate. I've got some ideas for maybe some small improvements down the road, but overall, really pleased with how this came out. And the rapids down here, you know, I sort of carved that irregularly. You saw that in the past, and that just allowed me to sort of build up the ripples. Oh, hey, George. I haven't seen him in a video in a while. and build up those rapids in sort of an irregular cascade where there's troughs maybe coming over submerged rocks, and I just felt like that came out a lot better as well. And of course, this is mounted on a 20-inch long board, so you can see, you know, I'm utilizing another probably at least 6 inches kicking out from the bottom of the waterfall where it ends here to do that transition, and that was one of the reasons why it was decided to mount it on a full board to give that transition room. And there's the waterfall. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at these. The waterfall was kind of a bit of a challenge, as letting the Liquitex gloss gel dry a bit to get a different kind of texture out of it, and to do that in small layers and build that up to try to achieve the thicknesses that I wanted is a bit of a time-consuming process, but I think the effect it provides is significantly better than some of the previous waterfall water cascading effects, I guess is what I should say, where it looks more droplet and more smooth and uniform. And really, when you look at falling water, it fractures so much into droplets that you get this very, very sort of rough, almost foaming texture even as it's falling. So hopefully I've captured that a little bit better than previous pieces. And of course, you can always go back and take a look at photos on the custom gallery section of the website, and then at TerranScapes.com, and also in some of the previous videos that I've done on waterfalls. So thanks for watching. Keep your eye on the channel. I have another video I'm going to be shooting right after this one, so won't be long before you see another update from me.